How to support a network-based client operating system, and this is 6 points using my Mac as an example. So firstly, completing a full and safe restart to the system. Now before you start, if you can, save your work because this is really important. So switch into my desktop screen, go to the Apple menu at the top left hand of the screen, and then you just select Restart to restart your computer. Or for a full shutdown, select this and it will power down your computer, and then you use the power on key to start back up. Now if you have a program that's frozen, you can use force quit and that will actually shut that down for you. That's like using Task Manager and Control Alt Delete as you would on a PC. Or for a hard start, you would use the Mac power button, and this is located in the top right hand side of your keyboard. You would hold this down for 5 seconds and then this would power off your computer, and then press it again to power on. Now on a PC you would use the Windows menu and then obviously restart or power off, or on the actual computer use the power key just as we have done on a Mac. Connecting peripherals required for the network by adding an additional dongle. So for this example I'm going to add an external memory stick, so that on the network we can actually add files and everybody can access what's stored on this stick. Okay, so I'm going to add my USB dongle and it will show up on the screen in a moment. There we go, measure 8 GB, and then what we want is to go to System Preferences, Sharing, and then I'm just going to get info and then shared folder, enable, there it is there. And if people need to connect to it, this here will be their actual server connection. So for example, what they would do is go, connect to server, and there it is there. So all of this file sharing is done from my Mac to another Mac user, as I've just demonstrated, but you can share this with a Windows device. So with accessing the memory stick, we would just go to Options, and then you can see here this is for file sharing with Windows, so you'd need to put in your user password. And then that would allow the actual Windows user to access all the files that are on the memory stick. Managing basic file and directory permissions. So in this example, I will show you how to add basic file permissions to a single folder and to a single file. This is because currently accessing my memory stick, everybody can access everything, and we don't really want that. So already on my desktop, if I show you, I have a file set up. And this contains a coffee shop mood board, which is in Word. So this folder, if we go to Permissions and Get Info, then make that a shared folder, and you can see it's then available here. You can actually just drag and drop into that as well. Now currently, everybody has read and write permissions, but you can change this in here, so it's read only, and write only will be Dropbox, so they can add files into that folder, or no access. It might be that you only want certain people and not everyone that can actually access this folder. So in the actual file, which is in Word, I've set it to read only, unless you have a password. So with read only, no one can edit this. Now if you were to do a save as, you can then have a new version which you can edit, but I'm not going to override that. So to access the file, I'll just put in my password, and that means I can access everything within the file. Now to add permissions to this, you would go to Tools and then Protect Document. And you can see here, you can set a password to open this document. So that's if you want it in the folder but no one else can access it unless you give them a password. Or as I've done, you set a password for people to actually edit and modify the document. And you can also then remove the permissions if you don't want it there. So that's gone. Using file management tools to manage a set of files within the user home folder. So the current setup on a Mac operating system for file management is called Finder. And Finder is okay, but it's not brilliant. So using the test file that I had earlier that was on our shared drive, I'm just going to demonstrate how Finder actually works. But you can see when you open it, it shows you everything. It's not actually filtered properly, and it's just giving you every single file that you've had. So in the sidebar, I've got a couple of folders that help me organise my folders more. So firstly, I'm going to move this shared drive to the dock. That just helps us access it. So there's the file in there. And then if you right click, you can open a new tab. So then you've got them side by side. So I'm just going to go to my documents. So now, because of this side by side, I still find it difficult to use, but also Finder is quite limiting. You can't cut and paste, and then moving things, it's just copying it, and sometimes you do get a bit lost with how it's all working. So I'm going to open a new folder. There we go. And I just find it easier to drag and drop. Okay, so I'm actually going to use my Mac drive, my external one, just because it's more easy. It's not my home drive, but I do have everything on here. So for example, I'm going to go and grab some files from my web design course. Let me see these here. I'm just going to drag and drop them over. There we go. And then also you can zip files and just make everything easier. So you can even just go. To be honest, I shouldn't be using Finder for my file management system, particularly if I'm setting up a network that shared users will be accessing files. Now, Commander 1 comes up in the search engines as a very popular tool for your file management. It is free, or you can get the pro paid version for $25.99, which includes advanced searches. It is optimised for file transfer, and this is between Dropbox and Google Drive. And the actual interface has like a left and a right side. You can have multiple tabs, and with your tabs you can choose your different source locations, and you can move files, zip them, you can move them in the reverse direction, and it's just so much more straightforward to use. Deleting temporary files manually and by using operating specific methods, and this is by using cache management. So on a Mac, as long as you have Finder active, all you need to do is go to the top of the menu, select Go, and then depending on your operating system, press Alt or Shift for the library. So I press Alt, there it is, and then you go to Caches. And then these are all your files which you can then select and delete. And then right click and move to Trash. Now, this is actually not recommended because just restarting your computer does actually clean up all of your files a lot better, and you may actually delete something that you do need. So lastly, backing up and restoring files to prevent data loss, and this is an example of a local storage device. So backing up is so important, particularly as over Christmas just gone, I managed to move most of my hard drive and lose most of my files. So having Time Machine, which is the Mac setup, pretty much saved my life. Now I use my external hard drive, and that's actually partitioned so that 250 gig is the Time Machine. Now Time Machine will activate whenever I have my external hard drive plugged in and my computer is plugged into the mains. But I can actually just go straight to Time Machine and press Backup Now whenever I need to. But when you go to all of your files, you can actually see all of your previous backups, or you can just access it from the top right and enter your Time Machine, and you can see all of your actual shadow screenshots, which you can then actually put back onto your computer if you ever need to. In addition, if you have the option, always have a cloud backup too. Now this will be dependent on the business needs and what the organisation wants, or what the user can actually afford as well. So this will range from just files that you save to an actual backup system that you can then restore from. If you go online, there's quite a lot of information available, and at the moment it recommended the top 5 range from iDrive to iCloud. So that's the 6 points covered. I hope you found that informative, and thank you very much for watching. And if you don't mind, please follow my YouTube channel.